Hello, welcome to my channel once again. Today we are starting a new series. I'm actually excited about it. I'm sure you are going to be too. So what we want to do today is, we've been working with OAuth since, and today we'll be taking it a little bit further. We've seen how you can use OAuth to build an application and connect it to some resource in Microsoft Azure. We worked with storage account. We connected our application to storage accounts. We've also seen how we can connect our application to what's it called? To a key vault as well. So this time around, we are gradually progressing into how it's really works in the real life. We want to see how we can connect multiple applications together using OAuth. So you are building one application, there's another application, maybe the second application is like an API, a web API, and you are trying to interconnect them together. And we want to use OAuth. So it's a really, really big deal. It's something that applies in the real world a lot, and something that there is so more having that skill set will be very, very beneficial. But I understand that people might not understand how valuable this is. So what we are going to do in this video is I will be showing you how you can do it without OAuth. Then in subsequent video, I think it should be about 3 videos I'll be creating. We are going to see how we can work with it using OAuth. So for this video, for this tutorial, we are going to be connecting multiple applications together without OAuth authentication. And you might ask, why should we go through the stress of using OAuth? So you are going to see that when I'm connecting these multiple applications together in this video, it's going to be open to the public, so anyone can connect the application together. But what OAuth does is that it ensures that only the intended destination and source are communicating with each other, and this is done in a very, very secure fashion. So we are going to see how this is done. So let me share my screen quickly. I'm on Visual Studio already. So I have 2 .NET applications running. The first one is, let me share my screen first so that, yeah, the first one is for building our API. It's for building our API, and I believe you can see my Visual Studio right now. Yeah, it's for building an API. It's a very simple application, and so this is the program.cs file. You can see this is the default content in our startup file as well. It's basically the default content. The only thing is that we have a service, our service that we are including here from this line. Yeah, we are adding a transient file here, and you can see we are mapping our controllers as well. But where I even want to take you to is our service file. So this is our controller, which is very simple as well. So this is the endpoint API/course that we can use for our API, the routes. Then this is our service file. You can see it's a very simple API that just has ID and course name parameters with their values, and it's hard coded here, but it can as well be in like a database or something. So we have this as well. This is the service that we want that our second application will be reading through. And this is our model, very simple as well. So what I did was I published this application into Microsoft Azure so that it will be easier for us to see what is really happening. it has been published to Microsoft Azure. We will be going to Azure soon, but let me open the second application. So let me stop sharing and open the second application on Visual Studio so that it will be easier for us to see what is happening. So let me open Visual Studio again. Then after opening it, I will share my screen again. I just hope you are as excited as I am about this, what we are about to do, because the applicability is enormous. Like being able to connect, so people talk about open banking these days and how OAuth is very important when it comes to most open banking systems across the world. And this is basically what happens when we are talking about open banking, especially for a financial firm that their infrastructure on the is on Microsoft Azure, is on the cloud. So let me look for the API. I have a lot of Visual Studio. I need to look for this. So just give me a moment to search for the project that consumes okay, it's called consuming API. That's what I call the package, consuming API. So I think what I will do is let me just open it directly from my repository. So I'm opening Visual Studio now. It's gonna open. So I'm opening directly from my Solution Explorer. Yeah, so now let me let me share my screen. It's opened. Okay, so as usual, this second application is, the plan is for you to consume data from the first application, the API. And this is the program.cs file. Very, very simple. It's a very simple application. This is the startup file, very simple as well. But where I want us to go to is the demo.html file, which contains, you can see the endpoint here. So I'm using Ajax. It's an Ajax call to send this API request. You can see the endpoint, and this URL is the Azure URL. After I publish the first application to Azure, this URL was the URL that I got from Azure, and we are going to be seeing that very soon. So it's just a simple application, basically. So the first one is a web API. The second one is the regular .NET web app. So now let's go to Microsoft Azure. So let me share my Edge browser. So I've published both to Azure already because I wanted this video to be fast. And publishing is not something that we've done multiple times. So that's not an issue. So this is the web app. I publish it to a web app on Azure. This is the web app that is for building the API, and this is the web app for consuming the API. So let me open the one for consuming as well. Yeah, so while that is opening, the one for building the API, so let me copy the endpoint, the domain, and if I should go over here and if I should enter the direct endpoint, there is nothing here. However, okay, let it resolve. You can see there's nothing here, but because I didn't put anything over there, but when we go to the API/course, you will see that we are getting a response, which was what was in our Visual Studio. So this is just the API. You can see it's resolving to an API. This is a JSON response. So if I should go to my consuming API, which is reading data um, from the um, building API, you can see that over here, we can see hello world. If you can recall, in our Ajax call, our response was in our console. So we are returning a response through console log, not actual API. So let me go to my console. This is my console. So now let's enter the demo.html, which was what was created in our Visual Studio. And you will see that we get a response here. And you can see that this response is from our first application, our first .NET application, the web API application, which is interesting. So those two applications are speaking to each other. So the second application is connected to the first application, which is not meant to be open, because what this means is that if another person, another developer gets the endpoint, he can also read data from the first application into his own application, and that's not the intention. Most of the time, you want to know the persons, you want to authorize people before they connect to your endpoint, before they connect to your API. So that is what our subsequent videos will be all about. We want to use OAuth, and we want to see a best practice approach, how different independent applications can interoperate together. So you might argue, you can argue that one thing I want to say is that when I was working with this, when I was trying to get the second application to read data from the first application, I was initially getting a cause error. So I needed to go to, from the building API, I needed to go to cause. I needed to go to cause and whitelist a URL. This URL, add the URL for the web app that is consuming the API. So this URL, it has been whitelisted. So that's why this second application can read data from the first application via API calls. But you can also argue that even without cause blocking requests, you can use, there are some other ways you can read data from an application. As long as it's resolving, you can read data. I mean, things like wget and call have the ability to do things like this. And there are several ways you can do that as well. But that being said, there are limitations to what cause can block. So that's why our subsequent videos, I think I'll be creating about 2 videos that will cover how you can orchestrate this in terms of best practice approach, having multiple applications. I was speaking about open banking. When you have one firm connected to another firm connected to an account provider and things around that, and how all this can be done with OAuth is very interesting. So watch out for my next 2 videos. It's I can assure you that it will be very, very, very beneficial. This is just to whet your appetite on how it can be done without OAuth. So if you find this video informative, don't hesitate to like, share, and subscribe. Have a good day.